apparently is a nice destination even when compared to Barcelona, but I won't say more than that. Mine is one of those homes where you can find both cell phones and a landline. I'm still not sure why we have the landline. It's one of those things that we've been reluctant to depart with. It seems irresponsible almost as a citizen not to have a landline, even though we never ever use it. My wife refers to it as the line that people use to call us that we don't want to talk to. A few years ago, my son James commented when he couldn't find his phone, you know, someone really should invent a phone that is connected to the wall with a wire that can't be removed so you can't lose it. You know, I told him that has been used in the past, but no one wants it. Today's hearing focuses on competition in the wireless market, and our subcommittee's hearings often address the competitive state of a particular industry or market, but in some ways today's hearing is unique because as it's presently constituted, the wireless market is, in fact, very competitive. Indeed, looking back a decade or two, there are perhaps few industries in which the benefits of competition are more readily apparent and pronounced than in the present-day wireless market. Many of us attending or watching this hearing can remember a time when mobile phones were still something of a novelty. And perhaps all of us can remember the time when a cell phone was a little more than that. It was just a phone. Today, smartphones are ubiquitous, and they do so much more than allow us just to make phone calls. In fact, within a few years, a majority of Americans will access the internet, primarily not through a computer, but through a mobile device. These rapid developments are, in large part, the result of forces of competition. Consumers in the wireless market have benefited from competition, not just in the form of low prices, but also in the form of high-quality service, which is the product of innovation and which leads to more innovation. Consumer demand has pushed carriers to offer better, faster service on better, faster devices. In the last 20 years alone, carriers have paid more than $50 billion for spectrum and have invested well over $300 billion in infrastructure. As the Department of Justice noted last year in its comments to the FCC regarding spectrum, competitive forces have been a central driver of innovations that have enabled wireless carriers to expand capacity and improve service quality. The wireless market is thus in many ways a success story that illustrates what can happen when government stays its regulatory hand and allows the free market to respond productively to consumer demand. To again quote the Department of Justice, competition generally represents the best method of ensuring that consumers receive low-priced, high-quality products and services, greater choice among providers, and important innovation. Today we've got the opportunity to discuss the government policies that may best ensure that consumers in the wireless industry continue to enjoy the benefits of robust competition. As spectrum is the lifeblood of the wireless industry and a scarce resource administered by the government, some of our discussion will understandably center on that topic. With data use exploding each year within the United States, carriers are aggressively seeking spectrum to fulfill demand. Indeed, to the extent the wireless industry has consolidated, the need for spectrum may go a long way towards explaining that trend. Although the federal government has taken some steps to free up available spectrum for commercial use, I believe additional steps can and should be taken in this regard, particularly where the government is holding low-frequency spectrum for non-military use. The careful evaluation of measures that may allow for some of that spectrum to be made available for commercial use may be extremely beneficial and may forestall additional attempts at consolidation. Some have expressed concern that a carrier may seek to accumulate spectrum for anti-competitive purposes. Although the foreclosure value of spectrum makes such an outcome theoretically possible, we must be careful to ground any antitrust analysis in the facts of specific transactions. Absent evidence that a carrier is hoarding spectrum or otherwise seeking spectrum for a purpose other than to serve its customers, it's at best premature to assume that a carrier's desire to purchase additional spectrum is itself anti-competitive. Particularly in light of the increasing demand for spectrum, it seems likely that all carriers will, for legitimate commercial purposes, for very legitimate reasons that have everything to do with the desire to compete in a competitive marketplace, continue to seek additional spectrum. In that scenario, competitive forces and market valuation will best allocate spectrum to its most efficient and highest value use. I've also heard concerns expressed regarding the competitive state of other aspects of the mobile device ecosystem, including the market for operating systems. For example, I've heard concerns expressed regarding the potential for a company with market power to leverage that power to limit competition in mobile services. I've likewise heard concerns expressed from small carriers regarding the availability of the latest and best mobile devices. These are important considerations as we take account of the competitive state of the wireless industry as a whole. Throughout our consideration of all of these issues, we must keep our focus on protecting competition and not protecting competitors. By carefully evaluating the evidence and applying rigorous economic analysis, we can continue to ensure the best outcomes for consumers. I look forward to hearing from our witnesses today, and I thank them for coming.
Well, thank you, Senator Lee. I'd like